If you're a hockey fan or a regular CBC viewer, you know that the playoffs are coming down to the wire, as they say in the sports world. Well, the Stanley Cup is what every player aspires to. But tonight we have a different hockey story, a tale of one of the many who didn't make it. Roger Boulanger's story illustrates what can happen when the game of hockey meets the business of hockey, how the rules and the risks can keep some of the best out of the game. Here's the CBC's Bruce Dobigan.
Play it off to Roger Boulanger, and up to Mario Lemieux. Lemieux comes in. Now good lead pass. Here's Boulanger in. Boulanger shoots one, and that went wide. Pittsburgh saves Roger Boulanger.
Roger Boulanger was destined to be a star when he made the NHL in 1984. With his powerful shot and his buzzsaw skating, the 18-year-old center was bound for glory with the Pittsburgh Penguin.
He was a great player. You know, they really were high on him. He was a big, solid guy, a Rick Tocchet type, big upper body, strong, could shoot the puck real hard.
He played hard, and that was his type of game. He was nice to watch.
But the smiles faded quickly for Roger Boulanger. By 1988, serious back problems had killed his career. Neglect then killed his dream. Today, the name Roger Boulanger turns up only in trivia. Who did the Pittsburgh Penguins draft in the first round along with Mario Lemieux and Doug Bodger in 1984? Roger Boulanger. Roger who? Win you bet every time.
Everything revolved around hockey, and now everything is away from hockey. And I can't skate, I can't do anything now, so it's basically out of my life.
Boulanger willingly put his health on the line to help his team win. From an early age, hockey players learn that's the price you have to pay to play in the world's best hockey league. In return, Boulanger expected the people he trusted, his agent, his team, and his union, would look out for him if injuries took a toll on his body. Boulanger says that trust was broken, and he's filed a $2 million lawsuit in Ontario court. Boulanger claims that the Penguins knew he had a serious back problem, yet cleared him to play without proper treatment. That his agent, Don Meehan, left him to fend for himself when those problems threatened his career. And that Alan Eagleson and the NHL Players Association failed to protect his legal right to damages and compensation. The case is yet to go to court, and no defense has been filed by any of the defendants.
Who knows what I could be doing if I got the proper treatment back then, 10 years. It was almost 10 years now since I've gotten drafted. I could be making $10 million. Who knows?
Roger Boulanger grew up in hockey-mad Welland, Ontario, dreaming of a career in the NHL. By the time he became a big scorer in junior hockey in Kingston, Boulanger was attracting the attention of league scouts. He was rated in the top 12 prospects for the 1984 draft when agent Don Meehan came calling.
I was new and he was new, and we kind of hit it off, communicating with each other on the phone.
On draft day, Boulanger was selected in the first round by Pittsburgh and signed to a $275,000 four-year contract. But his good fortune came to an abrupt halt in training camp. It was September 26, 1984, the Penguins' annual black and gold team scrimmage.
I was already bent over and then I just got hit in my lower back, so basically the shock of the hit, being bent over and not being supported, my body not supporting myself. But right then and there I just felt a quick pinch, like you were to get pinched by a needle, or a sharp pain. That's initially what I felt, and then after that it gradually got worse.
The next day, Boulanger told team trainers he felt a sharp pain in his lower back. He was sent for a CT scan. The results, sent to the Penguins team doctor Charles Stone on September 28, 1984, revealed two bulging discs in Boulanger's lower back. The condition of the discs, it said, may be of some clinical significance in view of the patient's young age. If clinically warranted, further studies appear to be appropriate. Back pain is one of medicine's most puzzling conditions. It can accompany a severe back trauma, or it may not appear till years after an injury. What is clear, however, is that in a high-risk occupation such as pro hockey, players like Roger Boulanger, who suffer pain and disability with disc problems, require greater vigilance from the training staff. Fellow rookie Doug Bodger remembers the medical treatment he saw on the cash-starved Penguins.
Well, it was not what I expected. I thought
you know, was, you know, going to be, you know, first-class organization. You think of the National Hockey League, you think, you know, the way you're treated is you know, first class and everything.
But after the onset of Boulanger's pain, the Penguins simply held him out of the first 2 games of the 84-85 season. Even then, Pittsburgh merely put their young player on the standby, not the injured list. That meant that there was no official NHL record of Boulanger's back injury.
I was told that basically I was going to outgrow that. And again, me being first year, not in a position to argue with professionals, doctors, this, whatever. I didn't really say too much about it, and I kept going.
Boulanger threw himself into his rookie season. His hard hitting drew the attention of fans and the press early on. But that physical style caught up to him in November. He missed 19 games with knee injuries. By the time he was able to play again, the Penguins were struggling on the ice and at the gate. Boulanger was struggling as well, scoring only 3 goals in 44 games. With just a month left in his rookie season, Pittsburgh returned him to junior hockey, thereby saving the remainder of its NHL salary for that year. NHL clubs are not permitted to demote players they know are injured, and the Pittsburgh Penguins had been told that Roger Boulanger had herniated discs that required attention. The only thing Boulanger had been told was that his $75,000 annual salary was now $40 a week in junior. September 1985, Roger had one more opportunity to play for the Penguins, an exhibition game against the Canadiens. And despite his back pain, Roger was awarded the game's first star. But the next day, he was sent to the Penguins farm team in Baltimore. His father, Roger Sr., was alarmed.
And then that's when I phoned down there and I said, you know, there's something wrong here. Like, Roger was a first rounder. He was first star of that game. Or they said he was the best player on the ice, and they're sending him to the minors. Like, can you look into that? And that's what he did. Eh?
And what did he report back?
Well, he got back to me and said that Eddie Johnson said there was nothing wrong, just that Roger was his play was inconsistent.
Boulanger would never again wear an NHL sweater, and he would never collect the bulk of his contract negotiated by Don Meehan.
It's like he kind of fell off the earth. That the team would, you know, say, "Where's Roger?" And they said, "No, we don't know where he is."
For the next 3 seasons in the minors, Boulanger battled increasing pain and disappointment. By 1987, his back problems had reached a critical stage.
And I was walking like a 90-year-old gentleman, and I was crouched over 90 degrees and couldn't do anything. And at that time, my dad and I just said, "Enough's enough. We got to get some help here."
Back in Pittsburgh, team doctors told the Boulangers the only solution for Roger's disc was an operation. In a memo, Penguins team trainer Steve Thomas pointed out to club officials that the damage in Roger's back stems from an original injury which occurred on September 26, 1984. The Penguins then paid for the operation.
Did you try to get a second opinion? Did your agent suggest perhaps a second opinion?
I didn't know I had an agent at that time. Again, I'm not hearing from him. That's basically why my dad and I just picked up and did it ourselves.
Boulanger received no special rehab from the club after his surgery, and within 5 months he was on the operating table again for his back. After another painful convalescence, he was sent to the Penguins farm team in Muskegon, Michigan in December of '87, where he played just 7 more games.
And you're looking at the rest of your life.
Yep. Yeah, 88, it was over and done with. And even after then, I never got any calls from my agent or Pittsburgh. How you doing? How's your back? Anything like that.
Don Meehan wouldn't discuss this case with the CBC, but he has told the Boulangers that his first knowledge of the CT scan came in 1989. But the family believes he'd have known of the scan had he fully investigated the original injury in 1984.
I was a little worried about it, and I had phoned down Meehan and told him, and that was the end of it.
The Boulangers say that their Toronto agent and lawyer failed to protect their rights under the standard NHL contract. Specifically, they say, Meehan never told them about the time limits that govern injury arbitration hearings or that can disqualify disability insurance benefits. Roger Sr. soon began writing to anyone and everyone in the NHL establishment, looking for answers as to what happened to his son's career. One man he wrote to was NHL Players Association Director Alan Eagleson, who personally administered the player's disability insurance coverage. Instead of offering support, Eagleson told the Boulangers that, according to his files, it would appear Roger did not play any games in the National Hockey League. 6 months later, Eagleson finally figured out who Roger Boulanger was. He then informed the player's father that since he had played more than 20 games after the initial body check, the injury was considered healed for insurance purposes. Roger Boulanger was disqualified from disability insurance. In 1992, the Boulangers finally obtained an injury arbitration hearing in New York with the NHL. After 3 years of work and $11,000 in expenses, the Boulangers were told the arbitrator couldn't rule on whether Pittsburgh was negligent in its treatment of Roger. The Boulangers, unaware of the deadlines, had waited too long to file a complaint. It was a classic catch-22. The injury runaround from the NHL and from Alan Eagleson has a familiar ring for former NHLer Mike Robitaille. While playing with Vancouver in the 1980s, the 10-year NHL veteran suffered severe neck pains and numbness. Robitaille could barely walk, let alone skate, yet when the Canucks team doctor cleared him to play, he attempted to suit up.
We were trained, I mean, God, don't go out on a stretcher. I mean, you could be half dead, just don't let the other guy know.
Racked with pain, Robitaille finally checked into a Vancouver hospital. Doctors there told him he had a spinal contusion. One more hit could render him paralyzed. Robitaille later won a $500,000 lawsuit from the Canucks.
I got my dignity back. I wasn't Mike Robitaille, the guy that doesn't want to play, was letting the team down all the time. They were lying about that.
Looking back at it, what would you say your mistakes were?
Our mistake was we didn't have any, we didn't know anything about the other side of the game of hockey, right? We had no knowledge on the rules and regulations. We didn't know anything about policies, NHL policies.
In the end, the determination to play NHL hockey that had made Roger Boulanger a great prospect was his undoing. By trying to prove he belonged in the NHL, even with crippling pain, he made his problems worse. Trained to obey the rules on the ice, he didn't realize the rules of the hockey business till it was too late.
I'm disabled for the rest of my life. I've got denied of something I tried to pursue since I was 3 years old, and it's all gone. And it went up so quick, and without any explanations or anything or any help from anybody, and it mentally and physically, it can ruin a person. It basically did that for me.
Lay it off to Roger Boulanger, and up to Mario Lemieux. Lemieux comes in, now good lead pass, here's Boulanger in. Boulanger shoots one, and that went wide.
Please stay with us. When Prime Time returns, Peter will have the latest on tonight's top news stories.